Okay, our next presenter, Sally Cassady, with her presentation, Seeds to Supper, Beginning a Vegetable Garden Program. And she does have a pre-presentation poll. If you could go ahead and fill that out, again, it would be very helpful. Thank you.
And it's not that serious, don't worry everyone, but you can take a shot at it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started while you are all doing that. So let me share my screen here. Right. Okay. So welcome everyone to my presentation. I see some familiar face, or not faces, I don't see your faces, but I see some names in the participant list. So it's nice to see you virtually. And I am going to talk about Seed to Supper, which is a program that I run, but I want to introduce myself first. So I'm Sally Cassady. I work for New Mexico State University, and I work in cooperative extension. So I am on the Ideas for Cooking and Nutrition grant program. So we are statewide, and I am going to explain what that program is if you've never heard of it before. And I know because I tried to think of everything that might be relevant to you all, but I probably am going to forget something. So if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat, and I'm going to aim to have enough time to answer those at the end. So ICAN is, well, for a really long time, ICAN focused mainly just on nutrition and cooking classes. It's a program that's funded by 2 grants from the USDA. But I would say about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe a little longer, several of those grants really started shifting focus from just providing direct education to trying to change the environment. So we work to provide education to folks in the community, but also we are trying to actually change policy systems and environments. I can focus more on the system and environment change with that. But with this slide here, I just wanted to give you a little bit of data of our program. So this is from 2020, and you can see that we reached about, it was 52,000 clients for that fiscal year. Just as background, our fiscal years are different. So it's actually October 1, 2019 to September 30th, 2020. But we, like many programs, were providing live classes and then shifted to the all virtual once COVID hit. And then this is where we are serving. The only county that is not highlighted on here that we have folks in is Taos, is the other county, but we're in 22 counties out of the 33 in New Mexico. So we have nutrition educators that are in the different counties, and we provide free services. So if you're interested in learning more about nutrition or cooking, you can attend a class there. So I would recommend go to our website, and I'll put it in the chat at the end of the talk, but you can go and fill out a request form, or you can just contact your local extension office and they can connect you to the person who's the right person. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about Seed to Supper, which is one of the many things that I do. So for my position, another big chunk of what I work on is starting community gardens in various parts of the state as well. But I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm just going to focus on Seed to Supper. So I like to kind of help people understand why this program exists in the first place, why it matters. And so this is just data on food insecurity in New Mexico. So we have food security in the entire nation. It's probably everywhere in the world, I'm sure, but what food insecurity means is that if a person is food insecure, they may not know where their next meal is coming from at a given time in the month. And I'll give you the technical definition from the USDA. It's a lack of access at times to enough food for an active, healthy lifestyle. So here in New Mexico, our food insecurity rate is about 14.2%. And this is data from the, it's from Feeding America. And this is the data that actually the Department of Health uses with their programming and recommendations. This is from 2019. They don't have any of the data released for 2020. Or 2021 yet. So this is all pre-pandemic information. And I just want to give you a reference point because who knows what 14% means, right? So the national average for the United States is, it's about 11%. And then the highest state that has the highest rate of food insecurity is Mississippi. It's 18.5%. And then the lowest is still, it's been this for several years, but it's North Dakota actually. So their food insecurity is 6.7%. And that rate is including everyone, children and adults. So something that's interesting with New Mexico is we are actually number 2. We were number 1, but we've moved to number 2 for the highest rate of food insecurity for children. So just something to think about too. But with this data, why I like to share this with all of you is just, this is really the bread and butter. This is why we have the Seed to Supper program, is that we're really trying to empower people, and the whole saying of teaching people how to fish versus just providing a fish. So we really want to work to try and give people the tools so they can grow their own food and be more food secure. All right, so what is Seed to Supper? It is a beginning vegetable gardening program, and it's designed for people who don't have a lot of money and really have little to no background. It's for our beginners, right? People who haven't had much gardening experience. And this program was originally developed by Oregon. So it was a collaboration with Oregon State University and the Oregon Food Bank. And this started in, I believe it was 2013 is when the first edition was developed. And it's super cool. Oregon Food Bank, if you haven't heard much about them, they are very progressive, and they actually are trying to put themselves out of business, basically, where they have a lot of initiatives where they're trying to, again, give people those tools that they don't have to keep coming back to the food bank. So I think that that's super neat that they're doing that. But we signed an agreement with them to adapt the curriculum to New Mexico. And we have been providing the Seed to Supper classes, or the series here in New Mexico since 2019. So how it works is, there's in-person and online, which I'll talk about in a second. But typically you're gonna have 6 weeks, or there's 6 sections, which we'll talk about that in a second, that people go through to learn everything that they need to know how to garden. And we have the program in English and Spanish. And these are the topics that are covered. So we really work to start folks at the beginning, right? So they are starting with planning. And this is something that I've seen a lot where people don't think about planning and they'll just decide, hey, I want a garden. And then I've had people who wanted to start a garden in Santa Fe in like September. So there's not a lot that you can do then, versus taking the time to plan and think ahead. So we start with that and we go to soil, planting, and then there's 2 sections on garden care. We split it up and then take them all the way to harvesting. And so it provides information on not only how to prepare. So if folks aren't really familiar and they don't know how to cook, or that they're not really sure how to use, let's say I'm growing Swiss chard right now, which I know is a really great vegetable for New Mexico for beginners. So what if I don't know what to do with it? We provide recipes and information on that, and then also storage as well. Okay, so I want to give you a little information on the history of the program. And this is our humble little beginnings that we had. So like I said, the program started in 2019, and we were just in 3 counties in New Mexico. So you can see here it was Bernalillo, San Miguel, and Valencia County. And then we actually had 2 sites in Valencia County. So there were actually 4 series going on. Oh, and then I also want to mention too, this is all these classes, except for one, were taught by master gardeners. So that's traditionally what we've been doing with the program, is really partnering a lot with the Master Gardener program that's part of New Mexico State University. So master gardeners, they can sign up to volunteer and help teach the program, and it counts for their volunteer hours that they need to get every year. And then we get volunteers who help extend our reach. So it's not just me trying to teach these classes all over the state. Okay, so here's our humble little, we had 22 graduates from 2019. And this is the data for this is what we do for the program is we have a pre-course survey that participants fill out at the beginning in the first class. And then we have a post-course survey. So to consider them graduated, they have to have attended at least 4 out of the 6 classes. For that, and just some information here that's pretty cool is from this data we saw, what we're interested in is actually getting people to eat more fruits and vegetables. So we were looking at motivation. So we had that 100% report back that they had more motivation to eat those fruits and veggies after taking this class. Or classes, I should say, I guess, yeah. So then 2020, we're chugging along, we're going to expand, right? So we're going to have classes in 9 counties in New Mexico, and there were multiple series happening. So it was more than like just 9 series. But as you all know, I don't need to repeat this, but COVID hit, so we had to cancel all of those. And something that luckily was in the works, coincidentally, had nothing to do with COVID, but I had been working to develop an online version of the program because New Mexico is a very large state. And so I wanted to provide the program virtually for people who maybe are far away and can't access the classes in person, or if they work during the day and they can't attend classes when they're offered. I wanted to have that option. So in February of 2020, we actually went live with our online version of the course, which is self-paced. So people can take it whenever on their own time. And it is using the Canvas learning management system for any of you who are interested in that. And one thing, and I think a lot of my colleagues saw this as well at NMSU, but during 2020, when we really first were in that lockdown, there was a huge increase in interest in home gardening. So we had a lot of interest in the program. And then here's our humble little graduates here. So you can see that it was 33, so still kind of low for how many people signed up for the program. And that's something that I'm looking into, is how to increase graduation rates, because it is harder for online programming. But so this is from February when it launched to September 30th, just so you know. So it's 8 months that we had the 33 graduates. And then we had, again, still a pretty high response of people who were motivated to eat more fruits and vegetables after taking the program. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything on my notes really fast. Cool. Okay. So now we are in 2021. Sometimes I forget what year it is because it feels like everything is the same right now for the past year and a half or however long it's been. But so you can see we had a big jump in graduates. And so this is for, like I said, our fiscal year is over now. So this is from October 1, 2020 to September 30th, 2021. So we had increase 232 graduates. And then the exciting thing, the other thing that I forgot to mention, actually, let me go back. Oh, my slides are messed up. That's what's going on. So let me see here. Okay. So sorry about that. I don't know what happened. But so we had an in-person program. So we had our first in-person series in 2021, and we partnered with the Presbyterian Community Health here in Albuquerque, and 2 master gardeners taught the classes. So we had 4 graduates from that series, which is very exciting. And what we did with that program is we had, we paired it up. Presbyterian has a Fresh RX program, so people can get a prescription from a medical provider to get fresh fruits and vegetables for free. So Presbyterian provides those. So we had these classes after the Fresh RX distribution to try and get folks who are interested in gardening and were participating in that program and needed fruits and vegetables as well. So, and then you can see here we had with the online, we had 84% increase. So it went down a little bit, but still pretty good numbers. And then we had the 100% increase in motivation for our 4 graduates from the in-person. And I'm guessing my slide that had the information is somewhere in the nebulous and it'll pop up. But one thing I want to mention with the online portion for 2021 is that this is not just the self-paced course. We also expanded and had live virtual Zoom classes as well in spring of 2021 and summer. And with that, it was a really cool collaboration where we had master gardeners and agents and specialists helped collaborate and provide expertise for that. So I'm very appreciative to everyone who helped me with all of that. Okay, now there we go. So what's happening in the future is right now, another thing that was on the slide, hopefully you all saw it, but we are actually revising the curriculum. It's undergoing revisions right now, and it's just overdue. I like to do it every few years just to make sure we have the most up-to-date information. And so that is being revised, and hopefully that the plan is that it's going to be released, the most up-to-date one in January of 2022. So that's happening. And then in 2022, we have some cool collaborations happening where we are going to partner with we're currently working with the New Mexico State Office of African American Affairs. And we're going to provide classes that are for our African American community here in New Mexico, and we're focusing to make sure that it is like culturally appropriate for the African American community. So thinking about foods that are culturally relevant, and then just the history of farming. I have all these exciting books that I need to read as part of that research for adapting the curriculum, which is neat. And then we're going to be working with Three Sisters Kitchen in Albuquerque to provide classes in Spanish. It's been challenging to find volunteers who speak Spanish fluently. So we're going to partner with Three Sisters to have classes in Spanish. We're going to contract out their community health workers. So that's in the works. And then we're working with some groups. We're working to find some groups to work with to create adaptations for our Native American community as well. And then really quick, I just want to show this. These are some photos from participants. So I love this one up here. Up top, where it is literally just a squash seed that sprouted, but the person was so excited to that they finally successfully got something to sprout. So it was really neat for me to see the impact that on people, and so I'm very glad and grateful that folks shared those photos with me. And then really quick, if anyone is interested in taking the Seed to Supper program, the best thing to do is just to go to our website. So we still have the self-paced course that is available now, and it's going to go through some revisions in now probably January as well. So it's going to be updated. And then in 2022, we're going to continue to provide virtual classes to folks. So for dates and times and all of that, just check out our website. And then we will be having in-person classes in 2022 as well. So again, I just recommend going to our website to find that information. I'm working with sites right now across the state to get all of that planned and ready to go. So just check our website probably I know we're going to have some in January and then probably, spring as well. And if you are a site that is interested in having Seed to Supper at your site, contact me and we can see if we can connect a volunteer with you so that we can have those classes as well. And it's all free. We pay for everything. So for all the supplies and all of that. So, okay. And that's it. So I just have to mention really quick, This is my doggy here. So I just found this adorable and I was trying to make my presentation more interesting. So I'm going to open it up to questions now.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Okay, so now we will begin the post-presentation poll. And your first question is, how is food insecurity defined in the chart you presented on data from Feed America?
So yeah, I'll read it again. I mentioned it, but the definition from the USDA is a lack of access at times to enough food for an active, healthy lifestyle. I don't know the specifics of you know, you don't have meal, you don't know where your meal is coming from 5 times a month or something like that. I'm not sure what the specific parameters are in terms of that, but you can look on the USDA's website to find that information.
Okay, awesome, thank you. The next question is, where can we find out more about the community gardens you've helped start? I know the main topic for this talk was Seed to Supper, but there are many villages in southern New Mexico that would benefit from beginner community garden programs if they just had a guide or some precedents to base them off of.
Yeah, sure. So email me and I can help connect you to folks or help you depending on where. I'll just mention I'm based in Albuquerque just for folks so that they know. But yeah, please email me.
Okay. And your last question, do any ICAN programs work with the 12 NMSU science centers? Many have seasonal fruit, vegetable harvested and available and often need places to distribute. There seems to be many opportunities to address food insecurity and nutrition, plus classes on food preservation, etc. Another idea could be could be to establish an ICAN garden plot at the science centers.
Yeah, so we actually have one that I work with Marisa Thompson, and so she's our horticulture extension specialist. So we work on we have a learning garden in Los Lunas. I know we had an ICAN educator who was working with the Los Lunas Ag Science Center, but she left and we haven't had anyone in that position in over a year. So it just depends, but I agree. I think that it's a great way, and we do try to connect everyone when we can in that way for sure. So.
Okay, and that was your last question. So
Yes, right on time.
thank you so much, and thank you to all the presenters and everyone that came to the 2021 Sustainable Agriculture Fall Workshop Series. And hopefully we'll be able to see everyone next year. Thank
Yes,
you.
and I just have to say I have these little glasses, so I had to put them on because I've been dying to wear them. So happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, and if there are any further questions, you can go ahead and email us and we'll contact you with the speakers for them to answer your questions.